Hello, this is the HB podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Lauber. Thank you for tuning in. Kevin and I sit down with Pennsylvania State Representative Brian Smith, talk about politics. This is an episode you're not going to want to miss. We got Brian Smith, Kevin Jack. Brian, thank you for jumping on the podcast. This is fun. This is last minute. So Brian is state representative for Pennsylvania. So thanks for coming on, Brian.
Well, thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we are extremely excited. I know Kevin and I have got a lot to talk about. I know there's a lot you want to talk about as well. We're going to be covering this new proposal that came out. I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now. I can't even remember, but it'll be, so this podcast is going to be dropping Friday the 23rd, and that's whenever this thing's going to kick off in the evening. So I'm going to try to get this out in the morning so all the listeners can divulge what we're going to be talking about, and hopefully are a little bit more educated and they can get their questions in and all that good stuff here as the morning progresses. But yeah, Brian, thanks for joining. I know this was last minute, and I know you just wrapped up dinner, but yeah. So are you from what area?
Northern,
Are you from?
Yeah, Northern Indiana County. I grew up in Marion Center, graduated from Marion Center High School.
Awesome.
And I'm in Punxsutawney now. My wife and I have been here for almost 30 years. We moved in between our parents. She was from Du Bois, I was from Marion Center. So when our kids were young, we moved here to Punxsutawney.
Oh, that's awesome. Good old the weather capital of the world.
Yes, sir. Big weekend next weekend.
Yeah.
So anybody listening that wants to make the trek, they need to get their stuff together and get here for next weekend.
Are you one of the families that rent your house out? If you don't mind, you rent out, or you stay there and enjoy all the festivities?
No, we'll enjoy the festivities over the weekend. We're actually in session on the 2nd, so I will not be going up to the Knob overnight. I'm going to be home sleeping, so I can leave at 6 a.m. in the morning to get to the Capitol next Monday.
Oh my, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I guess it doesn't shut down the entire state for
No.
Phil.
No, there's apparently a weathercasting groundhog from Lancaster County, so I'll be in Harrisburg arguing with the representative from that area on which is the better forecasting groundhog. We all know the answer to that. It's Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Punxsutawney wins that debate all day. That's an easy win. Hey, talking up is an easy win on a Monday.
Yep.
How long have you been in public office?
December, the beginning of December. I just finished my 5th year.
Oh, congratulations!
So, yeah, fifth year. We've got another year on this term, and then the sessions are 2 years long. So
Okay.
once we enter bills are good for 2 years, and then this session will be over in November, and then everything that's on the docket at that point will go away, and everything will have to be reintroduced in January of 27.
Okay, that's the more you know. The
Mhm.
more do you have to you making? If you don't, again, I'm going to ask some questions. Are you making daily trips down to Harrisburg? Is that something that what's that look like?
No, we get down 3 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays is our normal session week. I'm in the district Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays. But we don't go down every week. We'll go down, we're scheduled this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but they've already canceled Monday and Tuesday because of the weather. Not sure if we'll go Wednesday yet or not. And then the next week, and then we're off for a few weeks, and then we go back for a couple weeks, and then we're off a few weeks, and then we go back for a couple weeks. About 20 weeks a year we're down there. Not quite half of the year we spend down there. The rest is spent here in the district working.
Okay.
District work is very busy. Lots to do. I have 2 offices here in the district, and people come and go all day long with state issues, PennDOT, whatever. Come in and get things fixed on their driver's license or their car registrations, and any issues with the state. That's what we're there for.
Man of the people.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. For this, if you don't mind me asking, how long do those sessions usually take? They
As
like you're
far
sitting.
as on a daily basis,
Yeah, is it like yeah, just kind of curious
well,
here. It might be a dumb question.
we have meetings in the morning. We might have meetings with different groups on a one-on-one level, or we have
Okay.
committee meetings where 25 of us that are in a committee get together and we'll have a committee meeting. They normally last an hour. All that up until 11 o'clock. And then at 11 o'clock, we go on the floor. We vote in that we're there, and we do any preliminary stuff. Bills get read across the desk. And then we usually break and we go into our caucus meetings, which is, you know, the Republicans in one caucus, Democrats are in another caucus.
Right.
We go to the prospective rooms and we talk about the bills for that day, and we argue the pros and cons. And members will get up and talk about why they support a bill or why they don't support a bill, and we just listen to that information. And then usually back on the House floor around 1 o'clock or so, and that's when we start our voting. And um, some we've been on the floor till 10 or 11 at night, and we've been done on the floor at 3 or 4. So you just never know. It's always different.
Okay, that's sounds like no day is the same.
No, not no, because there's a different bills every day. So there are all kinds of different stuff to talk about and vote on, and then once you get that wrapped up, you're looking at what's coming up the next day and trying to figure out what you're going to do and what you might want to say on the floor on a bill or whatever. Just always working towards the next day.
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about what our listeners are going to want to talk about.
Yes, Monday versus Saturday.
So we'll go back to 2019,
Yep.
and I know whenever I was at camp that first year that we went to Saturday hunting, I remember hearing your name come up very clearly with all the guys, that you were a very loud and proud fighter against the Saturday hunting.
Yes.
Or the first day to be moved to Saturday.
Yes.
And I would like to make it known that I agree with that. Should have been kept on a Monday. And I want to hear. I have read into some of the things that I've seen. I want to hear everything that you have found, or some like the main points that you have found with the small businesses and the volunteer organizations and stuff that really relied on that weekend for their bottom line, for their financial, just their financial good for their businesses and for their organizations.
Yeah. So when it changed, I wasn't a proponent for it. But I didn't really think about it. That's what happened, and we had to deal with it, and didn't really think that I would be in a position where I could actually work towards fixing what I feel is a problem. But then when I got elected and I got down here, and I got talking about different issues and working on things that I thought the state had wrong, and that one come up in my mind after a constituent called me and said, "Hey, let's think about trying to get the game commission to change this back." So that's when I got even further involved in thinking about it. And actually, a week after that phone call, I was at a fire chiefs banquet here in Jefferson County, and all the fire chiefs are there. And I asked them about it, and it was overwhelming in the room. They're like, "Yeah, it's a problem." And then I got to thinking about back in the day down in Marion Center, they always had that big breakfast that weekend at the community center across from the school, and different things that started to close down. So then I started talking to my friends, my other state rep friends, and they told me about their fire company fundraisers and their gun shops that were complaining to them, and it grew from there. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, this is right. It's truly not about a specific hunter. It's more about our community and what we need to do to have a prospering community. And that was that weekend, without a doubt. on the business side of it, but it's also family time. Now, by putting it on that Saturday, we're not getting the family time we used to. You used to have all day Thursday with your family, and Friday if you had family in from out of town, and you didn't really have to think about hunting till Saturday or Sunday. Now it's you're just feet to the fire trying to get ready to hunt on Saturday, and that cuts into family time. And I that's something that bothers me throughout this country. It's like everything we seem to be doing is cutting into our family time, and that's important. That should be important to every single citizen in the United States, is having family time. And I get people say, well, family time's sitting in the stand with your family, and I'm like, when my kids were young and I was hunting, you didn't talk. You sat there and you were quiet because you're waiting for that deer to come. You didn't want to scare it away, so you're not talking. But when I would go to my grandparents' farm, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my friends from high school would come. I still hunt with my friends from high school and with my family too, but they would come and you get to talk with them for 2 or 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever days you went, and just walked through the woods, got things ready, and you just had a good time reminiscing about the past, talking about what's gone on over the last year in their lives, my life, that kind of thing. It's all gone now. We don't have that time to do that.
Yeah, I think that's I like the camaraderie of the deer camp. That is an aspect of it that I think has disappeared since the change. And just like you said, like, I mean, I wake up on Friday after Thanksgiving and it's all right, get everything together, get out the door. You got to get to camp to get things ready today, so you're ready for tomorrow. And then everybody rolls into camp and you say, hey, how's it going on Friday evening, Friday night? Everybody's in bed and you wake up the next day. Yeah, you sit with 1 or 2 other guys if you're not in a stand by yourself. And Saturday, everyone goes back to camp for lunch, goes back out into the woods, comes back in at dark. You wrangle up any successful hunts from that day. And then it's like you have dinner and then you go to bed.
Yeah.
And we used to have, geez, I don't know, 10, 15 guys that would come up to camp on Friday and Saturday night and hang out. And then they would go home or go back to their camps if they were in the area. And I think this year we might have had 4 visitors that weren't staying in camp with us. So it's like you kind of lose that feel, and the even the family stuff, like we used to have other families that would come and join ours. And that's just kind of disappeared. And I guess I'm just going to put it bluntly. Are we so far gone past that fight that it's not possible at this point?
I don't think so. I spent my morning on the phone. I had a policy hearing and then had quite a few texts. I got out to my truck and made some phone calls, and I was actually talking. One of the discussions I had was with a fellow legislator on the other side of the aisle, and we talked about what things to do. We're hoping to have a press conference on the Capitol steps on this, just trying to get it out in the public. I was at a table this morning with some people I knew, but other ones I didn't, and I brought it up. We were going around talking about different things, and one of them knew that I was behind this bill, and they brought it up. So I talked about it, and by the time I was done, everybody around the table understood why I feel the way I feel, and I just, so I don't think it's dead. I know the Game Commission's pushing hard. I'm not sure their reasoning for wanting it to move, but I did put a press release out on Tuesday that I agree with them. It's time to move the day, but they're moving it the wrong way. They need to move it to Monday again.
Yeah.
I think moving it back to the Saturday before kind of solves the Thanksgiving problem and the family time problem, but a lot of guys I know, they take that whole week off to hunt. So now they take that whole week off and they got a holiday in the middle to spend with family. So it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't.
if we are going to go to the new proposal, and I know most of it is centered around the deer season, but there is some other changes and movements and whatever, but they aren't as popular as what the deer rifle season is, I would say. But I know they're trying to push for more opportunity and more. They think it will retain more hunters for future hunting seasons and everything. But my first initial thought in my first fight is I feel like I actually lose opportunity with it because my family does things Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm not going to leave my family to go hunting as I do throughout archery season on weekends, on Saturdays, Sundays. Like, hey, I'm going to go here for an evening and hunt. That holiday time was a great time for everyone to be together. And now it creates a 3-day event in the middle of one of my favorite 2-week stretches of the year. And it's like, well, I just lost 3 days because I'm not leaving my family for this.
Correct.
And I feel like the opportunity thing is a real struggle for me to wrap my head around because I feel like you said, it's going in the opposite direction of what they're putting on paper.
Correct. And they've admitted, I mean, even the move from Monday to Saturday has nothing to do with the any biological aspects of deer hunting. It was a complete social move. It was to try and stop the lessening of sales of hunting licenses, and it didn't do that. Hunting license sales are still going down. And we see that in the numbers. I haven't heard the December 31st numbers yet, but we know they were 60,000 licenses down in the summertime.
Yeah.
So maybe people buy the license a little later than they were before. Yeah. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. They couldn't have gained. They've got to be losing. I know where I hunt, I don't see the people I used to.
Absolutely.
Even in our group's gotten so much smaller. So, yeah. It's just, I don't know. This has been
I know some of our guys,
years, though, but I don't think it's dead.
Go ahead.
I said, to answer your question from the beginning, no, I don't think the issue's dead. It's just getting the right people to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be to that, Brian, is you're saying getting the right people to listen, and who are the right people? Because I feel from a public standpoint, a public eye, I mean, from what you're hearing from across the table and from around the Indiana County in particular, and maybe some other counties is what it sounds like. Where do you know where these policies are coming from? It doesn't, like, I don't ever remember seeing a poll. Are you guys working, as a state rep, are you guys working hand in hand with other, the Game Commission is part of the state. Are you guys working with them for, how to drive those policies
well, I wouldn't say we're working with them. We talk to them. We have meetings with them, but you say they're a part of the state. Most people think that, but actually they're not. Mm-hmm. Because they're a commission. They're not completely, it's not like the Human Services Department or DP, where we can write a letter on a regulation and tell them they need to change this. Doesn't mean they will, but we have more control over departments. But commissions, we don't have that control over them. The only control we have over the Game Commission is Title 35 of state law, which, we hear people want us to we should stay out of the Game Commission. Well, no, Title 35's law, that all those laws have been voted on by legislators over the years to dictate to the Game Commission what they can do and can't do. It's just like whenever the Sunday hunting issue come up, they wanted us involved then because they knew it would take a law to get Sunday hunting. So yeah, we talked to the Game Commission. When to be honest with you, any bills that get passed in the Senate and House that end up on the governor's desk, he's agreed to them. They're not going to run anything that they seriously think will go through unless they know he's on board. So when you say who's in charge, the governor's one of them, and your executive director from the game commission would be the other one, and then whoever else is in the mix there. Sometimes we don't know who all it is, but there's things going on behind the doors that I don't even understand. And that was one of my discussions today was, you know, I was elected by the people of District 66. When I go to Harrisburg, I am talking for them. I am trying to do things to make the district better. And a lot of times, whatever that is, that department or that commission, they don't agree with it. And we can't get it done because they get in leadership's ear or the governor's ear, and then we're not allowed to move it. I have another bill right now that's so simple. It's not political. And I got it through committee, but they won't let me run it on the House floor because they don't, you know, it's just crazy. It's crazy. They want something in return. And I actually had to tell the transportation chairman across the aisle, because they're in control. I had to tell them that that's not me. I'm not going to vote for something that I can't vote for because my district would not want it just to get my bill to go on the House floor. That's not the way politics should be, but sadly it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of curious if that maybe played a little part in this, that little give and take. If this was something that was being driven in the back end and everyone was pumped about the Sundays coming through, I think as a whole, I feel that maybe I'm not speaking for everyone, but I thought maybe that had to play here is like, hey, we got the Sunday huntings, but somebody had some type of idea here that it was like a give and take, like, hey, we're going to pass that, but this is what the consequences of that are.
Well, and that's one angle I took. There was other problems with the Sunday hunting. I voted no for it, and it wasn't because of Sunday hunting. It was actually because of the trespass laws that were within that bill.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that. I got hit on Facebook. People said, you know, you voted no. Well, there's a reason why I voted no. I could care less about Sunday hunting. It doesn't matter to me. You can hunt Sunday if you want. If you don't, you don't. But there was a trespassing issue in there where when you saw the bill and they claimed that it strengthened trespass laws. Well, it increased the fines, but they also gave someone hunting with dogs the right to go right onto my property to retrieve their dogs without notifying me. And that's not right. That goes completely against the Constitution and property rights. You should not be able to just walk on my property. If your dogs get on my property, I'm going to let you go get them, but you come let me know you're on my property to retrieve your dogs. And I couldn't vote for that bill just for that reason. But what I did was I talked to I'm on Game and Fisheries Committee. I talked to the across the aisle saying, run my amendment. I tried to run the amendment for Monday a few times and they kept making me pull it. They wouldn't let me run it. They traded me that hearing that I got last year for polling it. They say, if you pull that, we'll give you a hearing so you can get your voice heard. So that happened. Well, just this past fall, when we did vote for the Sunday, when we were working through second was when you put the amendments on. I put my amendment on there, and they actually, I was surprised. I was sitting there waiting for them to come and tell me you're going to pull that, and I was going to argue with them, but they surprised me and they ran it. But it went down 102, 101. It went down party line vote. Every Republican voted for it, and every Democrat voted no. And after that vote, I had a Democrat colleague come to me and say, I'm so sorry. We wanted to vote for that, but our leadership told us we couldn't. So that tells you that the Game Commission is in their ear saying, you can't let this go. You can't let this come through. And I have Democrats. So here's the thing. This isn't a political issue. It's not. This is just a common sense, what's best for Pennsylvania issue. But anything you take to Harrisburg, it becomes political. And that's the sad part of it. But to have them come and tell me that they know their districts are for this and they really wanted to vote for it and get it on the Sunday bill, they said we weren't allowed. We were told to vote no. And that's sad. That really is. It's sad.
That is sad.
Yeah.
That is sad. Yeah, that trespassing law is wild, and a lot of people
It is.
don't know about it and
Yeah.
didn't know that that was a thing. And yeah, I was again. That's why I assumed there was some give and take, and that's why I assumed that because of that Sunday hunting, this was a consequence of that. But it sounds like there wasn't a correlation there. Maybe there was in the back end, but from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like that was the case here.
Exactly. Yep.
And I know everything's a proposal, and this isn't, I know, this isn't, wasn't written in law, but, how much of this proposal, I mean, if there, and it sounds like from at least what I've seen on some public sites and, the Game Commission page, how much of that do you think is going to play a part in the proposal? I know, if the public can speak, can you maybe walk through what that looks
Saturday
like this
morning.
weekend?
Yeah, so I went down and spoke at a hearing 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Went down on a Saturday and spoke, and that day I think there was, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say there was 25 to 30 speakers maybe, and 19 of them were for Monday. 4 or 5 were for Saturday, and the other ones were for talking about fishers or whatever other animal they're wanting to introduce here. And if I was a commission member sitting there listening to that, I think I would get the clue that, you know, I think our decision in 19 was the wrong one. We really need to talk about this. So for them to come out last week and say, here's the two proposals we're going to talk about, and not discuss returning to Monday, is a complete slap in the face of the people of Pennsylvania, because they know it's an issue. So at least have an open discussion about it. There's going to be people there Saturday to talk. I'm not going to be able to make the trip because I've got Friday night and Saturday things in the district that I have to do. I've got to prioritize my district, because that's how I get back into office. But there's going to be a lot of people down there Saturday, and there's going to be a lot of discussion, and they're just going to sit there, and then they're just going to talk about Saturday. I honestly don't know what the vote will be. I don't know if they'll table it, or if they'll vote to keep it the way it is, or if they'll vote to the new Saturday. I really don't. That's the inner workings of the Game Commission, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet.
Now, what's the feeling around you and the other representatives that you've spoke to? Are they for, with the two proposals that are on the table for this upcoming year, are most for keeping it as is, or are there rumblings of people pushing to push it that week ahead?
So no, most of our discussions are, what are they doing? Why? The way I see it, they know they've made a mistake, and I just think they just aren't willing to admit that moving it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And this is one way they think they can fix it without giving in to the
By
people that
making a
want
bigger
Monday.
mistake.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, my discussions with my other state rep colleagues is we all talk about it. It should be moved back to Monday. It should have never moved. And it needs to go back to Monday. So I don't know, the last I looked, there's 12 or 13 co-signers. My goal is to get two or three from my caucus and 2 or 3 from the Democrat caucus that are co-signed onto my bill, and do a press release, because that's the one thing we have is our voice. We can get a time on the steps down there, get a podium, get a camera, and we can do a press release, and get video out there. And basically you do that just to bring stuff to the attention of people, because honestly, the hunters, I think if I heard the number right, only 6% of us in the state hunt. I know we're a huge block of hunters, but it's only 6%. There's under 1 million of us. There's 13 million people live in the state. So it's amazing. A lot of people don't even know. They don't even have a clue what's going on.
Right.
The only people that really know are the hunters or the businesses that are affected by it. So when I talk to these people and I tell them my point, I always give them my point. I give them the points that the Saturday hunters say that they, why they like it. And I don't disagree with them. It's their points. But what I disagree about is that it shouldn't be about me as a hunter. It really should be what's best for Pennsylvania. So that's one way we get our word out, is to do these press conferences, and then the other thing are hearings. So I would like to get another hearing together. Whenever they gave me the Game and Fisheries hearing, they didn't give the Monday supporters a lot of time to talk. They only scheduled it for an hour. It was originally scheduled for 2, and then they cut it back to an hour with the excuse that we only had the room for that long. And then they only gave them 15 minutes to talk. Well, that's not long enough to talk about this issue and put out all the information that we've logged over the last 6 years, 7 years almost now. So I'm going to work towards another hearing that's geared only for Monday people to actually talk and get that information out to the public so they can hear it. I mean, that's a goal of mine. I just haven't figured out how to get that done yet.
That's you Kevin, real quick. You touched on something there about using your voice, and this day and age that we're into now with social media and digital platforms, i.e., this podcast being one of those. Is there an emphasis with your colleagues to maybe do some more of this kind of stuff and to get get the word out in other ways to kind of put some pressure where it needs to be put, or is it just kind of still that same traditional avenue?
No, we're doing it with other issues that we have. We're figuring out that we need to do a lot more if there's something that we really want. We've got the Republican caucuses done the Dads Defending Daughters thing right now. Yep. And we have, every one of us have that in our office. We've got the cards. We're getting people to sign the petition online so that we can hand it to the governor and show them this is an 80-20 issue and we need to get this fixed. I know there's not a lot, and I don't know that in Pennsylvania there's ever been one issue, but it's coming and we need to hit that head on. So, but that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother podcast there. not on a hunting and outdoor podcast. Yeah. But anyway, my point was that's what we're realizing that yeah, speaking at the Capitol doesn't always get it done. We've got to get out in the street. And that's why we've done what we've done. And then my Republican chairman of Game and Fisheries, Dave Maloney, he's going around the state doing those hearings. We did one in my district, February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're in Westmoreland County, and we'll be over in Clarion County in Bashline's district, Representative Bashline. I'll definitely be at that one. I don't know if I'll make the Westmoreland. I will if I can. And that's not just on this issue. It's on multitude of Game Commission issues. So there's more than just this issue with them. The Game Commission does a lot of good things. I complained about the point restrictions when it happened, kind of myself. I wasn't very voiceful then. I just thought I don't really like it. But you know what? I've shot some of the nicest bucks since the point restrictions came in than I ever shot before. So I'm over that one.
I think this almost this proposal in a sense could almost reverse that in a way. The deer in Pennsylvania have come so far in the last 20 years from the point antler restriction. Yeah. By pushing a week closer almost to peak rut, you're putting those younger deer that are a little bit dumber. They aren't as mature, so they're out more in daylight, and even those mature bucks are still out cruising. That they don't get that extra year or two. And it could, I have read a lot of things and from some very, I would say, respected social media people and hunting groups around the state that have brought that point up where you put those deer more at risk of not making it because they're still out seeking those doe, and that antler restriction help them get to the point where we've been for the last 20 years, that now that year-old 8-point that in 3 years is going to be a giant is now getting shot, and he is, I mean, 6-point even. Like, those animals don't have the time to grow because they're out running during that week, and there's now hunters with high-powered rifles in the woods.
Well, Kevin, just to kind of maybe, I don't know, squash that a little bit. I think that if you look at the numbers now with crossbow hunters and the ability to hunt with a crossbow and even compound bows, what you're able to do from a distance. I think last year the statistics came out, it was almost 50-50 from mature deer to being harvested with a rifle and a gun. And I don't know if it would be interesting to see, if they did some type of trial to see. I don't know how you would even know that without actually doing it. But I don't know if that would play a huge impact in the deer herd. I'm assuming there would be a lot of arguments saying it would. Someone shooting a deer, your definitely odds are better with rifle. But I'm not sure if that would play a huge role in that or not. But again, is the Game Commission looking at that when they're making these decisions? It's just I haven't been able to find, maybe I just haven't done enough research, good valid points for their proposal. There's not really been a reason for it, at least that I've seen, other than the fact that maybe what you mentioned, Brian, is they're just trying to solve something by
the Thanksgiving issue. Yeah, I just think for them to even think about moving it back a week doesn't make sense. It's the first day of bear. And our archery ends on Friday, the Friday before that Saturday, doesn't it?
Yes.
And then
the Friday before, yes, sir.
Yeah, and then the deer have the week of Thanksgiving with nothing, but there's bear hunting going on, and then we walk in the woods on Saturday. The other thing on the points, and we have another bill that we're trying to run that they just won't let us run, and that's removing the point restrictions on, I forget the age, but like 65 and over. So I've been a proponent of that, and my reason for it is that we let youth shoot whatever.
Yeah.
There's no point restrictions for youth. And then I think we should give it to the retired guys, the guys that are out. And my reason for it is this is kind of asking a question. It's my philosophy. I'm wondering what you two think. Because of genetics, there are bucks that may never get bigger than a 6-point. Do you think that's a true statement?
Yeah, I think it's not as common as you might think. I think there are some genetics out there. I mean, I live in a community. Well, you're familiar with the Woods Treasure Lake, and I know of a buck that I've seen for 3 years now who is not bigger than a 6-point.
Yeah.
But I do know that a lot of times someone will harvest a 6-point, say, "Oh, that deer is going downhill," and then they get it aged, and it's a 2.5-year-old. Yeah. So I think it's not as common, but I would support that for sure.
Yeah. I think, purely on if what they're looking for is license sales and retaining hunters also, I think that would drive a few guys that left to come back, because let's be real, most people are, if they have a successful hunt, they're looking forward to the following year.
Yeah.
Correct.
And those guys that are 65 and older, or heck, even, I know there's a social media, there's an Instagram page every year. They post this one guy, he's 92. He shoots a buck every year.
Yeah.
Every year. And it's like, you could have 2,000 of those stories.
Yeah.
Because those guys can only get into the woods once or twice a year. And if you take that point restriction off of them, that's going to make those guys love it even more, just like they used to.
Right.
And I have no issue with that at all. And I would definitely support that. Just from, again, it goes back to the camp camaraderie. That would be awesome to watch an 85 75-year-old guy come walking into camp, get out of the buggy, or his grandson just pulled his deer up to the camp, and you hang a 6-point or a 5-point that this guy just shot.
Yep.
I think that would be awesome.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah. So,
And then another piece of legislation we have is, and actually, I don't know if it's come out twice. I know that Representative Haddock, I think, brought it out. Commissioners. So commissioners right now are politically appointed by the governor.
mhm.
They're picked by the council, and then the governor officially appoints them. I think that we need to come up with a way to vote for our commissioner for our area.
like in a district,
Yeah,
each district.
each district,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't think it would be that hard to figure that out, whether you do it at the license sale or whatever. But then you would have commissioners that want to be commissioners that could actually come out in the community and talk to the hunters and tell them what they're about and gain their support to actually get voted into that position for whatever length of term it is, whether it's 4 years or whatever the term is. I think they would represent us better at that point.
Mhm.
Right now, they're not representing the hunters. No matter what
No.
they say, they're not representing the hunters.
Yeah, I would support that. You said that's out there right now. That's something that,
Yeah, it's out there, but it's like I said, it's not going anywhere because the game
Yeah.
commission doesn't want it.
Right.
valid. That would be, I mean, I guess that was kind of, I want to circle back a little bit. That's kind of where I was asking before is like, where are they getting this data? I understand that, they're saying therefore, it sounds like it's not coming from the public. And, what can we do as the public, or what do you, Brian, maybe you have an idea here. What do we, as the hunting community, being that we are only 7% of the population, what do you think we could do to get our voice heard, to help our representatives and help things like that get through and help voice our opinions and our thoughts a little bit better? Because I don't think we're doing a great job at it right now. I don't think going on the Facebook and and voicing the opinions there is really, I think it's falling on deaf ears. So what do you think we could do as a community?
To a point it is, but it helps. I mean, I put that press release out and Brad Snyder shared it on a web page, on a Facebook page. And there was one comment that they just said I was out looking for votes. Other than that, it was all positive and many, I mean, I don't remember the number of comments, but it was a lot. So that helps, but a lot of people aren't seeing that. So the Game Commission has an email. You can write a letter and send it to the Game Commission. I think that's important. But I can't tell you that they're looking at it. I don't know what they do with those letters that they get. But you would think if 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 letters come in support of getting it, whatever the issue is, whether it's Monday or whether it's the point restrictions for 65 and over, or whether it's the commissioner, issue, you would think they would have those discussions then and say, hey, and they should be representing the hunters, and they should look at that and say, hey, we need to discuss this. This is what the hunters want. Because as long as they keep going the way they're going, sales are going to decline on license sales because they're driving hunters away. Hunters are getting fed up with what's going on and just don't want to hunt anymore. So they're not going to buy a license.
Well, and that's what Chris and I were talking about for a little bit before you hopped on here. And it was like, I'm 29 years old. I did my hunter safety whenever I was 12. So what is it? 17 years that I've been purchasing a license every year. I don't recall ever getting a questionnaire or a survey of what did you like? What didn't you like? How was it this year? What was the deer movement? This and that. Now every year you go and it's, how many ducks did you kill? How often did you do this and that? Because it's federal stuff.
How many turkeys did you see?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Like now that thing, like, okay, so I went to Kansas last year. Within 2 months of their season ending, I had a survey in my email as a non-resident hunter. What was easy for you? What was hard for you? What was the deer movement? What was this? What was that? Now, if you just send that out, it's a mass email. You just send that out to your hunters or your license holders and say, here it is. And then you pull it, you get a sample size. There you go. And now you can base it off of what your license holders and everything is seeing. And then you can make a proposal or a decision based off of that. I just felt like it was a complete blindside to the license holders. And everybody I've talked to so far is in the same boat where it's like, I've never seen anything. I've never had a survey come to me asking if I liked Saturday hunting or if I liked Monday hunting or anything like that. And I feel like that would be very important.
I've been hunting for 45 years. Since I was 12. And I think I did get a survey once, but it wasn't about my hunting experience or anything. It was just, I think it was on kill. They want to know how many turkeys I killed, how many bears I killed, how many deer I killed. That was it. There was no, what was your experience in the field or what would you like to see different or anything like that. But that would be catering to the hunters, and they don't do that.
And
they don't do it.
Essentially, they got a way of sending out a survey for harvest because now legally you are supposed to record that.
Yes.
So they don't even have to say anything anymore. They have I think they have a stat out there, like whatever it is, 40%, or that's not it, but like say that's the number of people that do harvest something that don't report it. So then they just throw that in and it's like, okay, but that doesn't solve any of our questions or concerns or anything. That's just getting numbers.
Yeah. Yep.
Now I can go on this. I have very strong opinions on this, but it's like, it's also too, like whenever you do bring it up, and if I hope our listeners that do have opinions one way or the other, because it's got to be fair and it's got to be right for everybody. But you have to, if writing an email to the game commission, you can't come across as this, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's got to be, here's my point and here's why I think this.
That is correct. That is very correct. It has to be written in the right way.
Yeah.
It's not, it can't be demanding. It's just, this is my experience. This is why I want it this way.
Right.
Whatever the issue is.
And I think that's a lot of what they see is they get in 2 sentences and it's calling the head of the game commission, calling him a name. And then this guy doesn't know this and blah, blah, blah. And here's what I think. And this is what it should be. And I think that is where they, okay, X, go to the next one, because these people those are the people that are demanding things instead of having a conversation and seeing why this guy thinks Saturday start versus this guy thinking Monday start, and actually talking about it compared to you're wrong, you're doing the wrong thing, this, that, the other. And I think that's where a lot of this falls, because I mean, everyone on everything anymore has a strong opinion and they don't think they're wrong and the other side's wrong and this and that, but that can't be how you go about change.
Exactly. And that's why I'll sit here and say I listen to the Saturday people that want it Saturday, and I understand their points. It fits them. But I was elected to represent my district and my constituents, and I have constituents that want the Saturday. They can be very voiceful about it, but I know in my heart that the majority want Monday, because I'm out in the street here in my district and I hear it all the time. They want to know, hey, how's it going? Are you going to get this done? What's going to happen? And it's overwhelmingly more than the Saturday supporters. So I'm going to represent the majority of my constituents, and luckily it falls within my purview of what I like too. So it makes it easier.
I think coming from, Northern Indiana County and Jefferson County, there's a lot of small communities in there that had mom and pop shops and had, different things that really, they relied heavily on that. And unfortunately, I know some have closed, and they have pointed to that weekend as being not the reason why, but a part of it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of the arguments that Saturday. Well, if they lose that weekend and can't make it in business, they shouldn't be in business. That's really the rudest comment I've ever heard. They don't truly understand business.
Right.
It's not all about that weekend, but that weekend is super important. It
Yeah.
takes many different times of the year to keep a business like that open, and
Yeah.
and that weekend was important, and it just drives me insane when they say that. They and I was a business owner, so I get it. I understand it. Not that deer hunting meant anything to my business. It didn't matter what day it was for it, but it just drives me crazy when they say that. If they had to run a business for themselves, they would get it, and they don't.
Right.
Yeah,
And I go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, look at Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania during Groundhog's Day. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a prime example. That one day
Yeah.
is so huge for the community. And
Yep.
And not even just Punxsy. I mean, you've got people
surrounding.
staying in Indiana, you've got people staying in DuBois, you've got everything. I mean, it affects it all.
Yep.
And the travel, I mean, the gas and all of that, like it really hits everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yep. And there's a big build up to it. Groundhog Day will actually start on Friday. There'll be events Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because that's how Punxsutawney businesses make their money. It's a 3-day event. It's ramping up to the big, Phil coming out of his hole.
Right.
Good old Punxsy Phil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I guess Brian, thank you so much for coming on here, and I hope this has been, we've been able to allow you to kind of, get out to the people here, and most of the demographic that does listen to this is going to be in your district, so that's great. And is there a way that people can reach out to you, or is there what would be for the your district in particular? What do you think the best way is for them to, again, get their voices heard? Is it the writing the emails to the game commission? Is there?
Yeah, it's the emails. I mean, I don't mind them calling my office, but my office or my staff knows where I stand. Calling me I'm glad to hear from people, but I know where they are. It's that email to the game commission, really. And
Perfect.
like I said, I can't honestly tell you that's going to make a difference, but I know, I mean, the game commission's a business, just like running the state's a business. You get enough contacts on one issue, I would think you would have to figure out how to discuss it.
Right.
So it can't hurt. I worry about where those emails go. So do they actually count them and keep track of what's coming in? I don't know. I'm not there. I can't tell you that. But it still doesn't hurt to do that because then you're using your right as a citizen to voice your opinion. So, yeah.
Yep. Gotta love the freedom of speech.
Yep. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm easy to find. You just Google my district offices and call in and you can give them a name and a number. If you want to talk to me, give them a name and number and I'll call you back. If I'm not in that specific office at that time. So
thank you, Brian.
One real quick thing that you had mentioned was, I think February 5th or 6th, you had said,
Westmoreland County. There's going to be their sportsman listening tours that Chairman David Maloney's doing. He's my Republican chair of Game and Fisheries. We did one up in Sigel last year, and he was trying to do 8 or 9 around the district, around the state. So Westmoreland County, I got the email, but I didn't open it yet. I knew it was coming to tell me when and where, but and then the other one's going to be around Katanning. New Bethlehem, I think. But I forget the town.
Is there an area we can find that we can add that to? We can put that on the podcast for our listeners to maybe look up when those times are. Or?
I'm not sure if they can't find it, they can reach out to my office and we can get them the information. But I think if they would Google sportsman listening tour, they might get something to come up because I'm not sure where Chairman Maloney puts that information out at. I'm not sure. It might, and it actually could be on his representative page. They could Google him, and he might put it on his represent. We all have our own legislative pages. He might be putting it on there.
Awesome.
Yeah, that caught me. I live in Westmoreland County now, so that's something that I will probably try and fit into the schedule. As
Yeah,
long as I can make it.
I'm just taking from memory. It's Westmoreland. I don't think it's Armstrong. So I think Armstrong will be Bash Lines. I think it's Westmoreland. So
Okay.
I know he was trying to do one in the Southwest, which Armstrong's kind of Southwest, but not completely. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Very
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, have a safe weekend. Get all your food in place tomorrow, and toilet
Yes.
paper and bread and milk and everything you need, because it sounds like snow again's coming this weekend. So
That's what it sounds like. I really appreciate you coming on. We had a great time. And
hey, invite me back. I'll come back anytime we want to talk about an issue. So I really
Thank you.
appreciate the invite.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you.